The cameras flashed, the crowd froze, and just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession. But this wasn't on a red carpet in Los Angeles. Picture the scene with me. It's Charleston, West Virginia, inside the hallowed halls of Christ Church United Methodist.
Such a specific setting.
Right. The date is April 6th, 2024. And it's a darkly somber occasion. It's the memorial service for William Jack Garner, Jennifer Garner's father. So the atmosphere is heavy with grief, reflection, and you have the entire family gathered in the pews.
Yeah, a very private moment.
Exactly. And then Jennifer's middle child approaches the lectern. They're wearing a black suit, a tie, and a buzz cut. They lean into the microphone, and instead of the name the public has known for 15 years,
Right.
the child says clearly and calmly, "Hello, my name is Finn Affleck."
Wow.
And it wasn't a tabloid leak. It wasn't a paparazzi scoop. It was a declaration of self in a moment of family unity. Welcome to StarScope Report.
Where we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
I'm your host, and joined by our resident expert, we're diving deep into the stories behind the fame, from red carpet surprises to the private struggles behind closed doors.
And today's deep dive is based on a headline that, honestly stopped me in my tracks. Ben Affleck's child just changed everything.
It's a massive headline.
Right.
But as we dug into the stack of sources we have today, from Parade to Bustle to some really fascinating socio-psychological analysis, we realize this is about way more than just a name change.
Absolutely. This is a story about the evolution of the modern American family.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack Finn Affleck's public introduction, Jennifer Garner's very recent and honestly surprisingly raw admissions about the losses of co-parenting.
Oh, that interview was intense.
So intense. And we'll look at how the Affleck-Garner unit has completely redefined what it means to be a divorced family in Hollywood in 2026.
So let's unpack this. We have to start with that moment in the church, because the context here is just everything. This wasn't a TikTok video. This was a funeral. Why does that specific setting matter so much?
Well, it matters because of what a funeral represents anthropologically. It's a ritual of lineage.
Right, like a passing of the torch.
Exactly. It's where you stand up and say, I am part of this line. I am a descendant of this person. So by choosing this specific moment to reintroduce themselves, Finn wasn't just saying, this is who I am now. They were saying, this is who I am within this family.
That's a huge distinction.
It signals immense safety. You don't do that if you think your grandmother or your parents are going to reject you. You do it because you know the foundation is solid enough to hold your truth.
It's not rebellion, it's integration. And the details really paint a picture of quiet strength. Finn stood there, flanked by their siblings, and read from the Bible. Specifically, Proverbs chapter 16, verse 8.
Which is an incredibly telling choice for a teenager with two mega wealthy parents.
I got to read the verse for you guys. It's, "Better is a little with righteousness than a large income with injustice."
Just think about that for a second. We are talking about the child of Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, large income is literally their baseline reality.
Right. So to stand up and publicly value righteousness over wealth, that is a heavy, mature sentiment. It speaks to their values. It suggests that despite the private jets and the movie sets, the internal moral compass of this kid is pointed somewhere else entirely.
And it's not like this came completely out of nowhere, right? If you were paying close attention to the clues in the source material, they were absolutely there.
Oh, totally.
The paparazzi had spotted Finn, who is now 17, by the way, rocking that buzz cut. There were photos of them meeting Jen at a nail salon or waiting at a bus stop, and if you zoomed in...
Your backpack.
Yes, their backpack literally had the name Finn embroidered on it.
Which is such a classic teenager move. It's the soft launch of identity.
The soft launch, I love that.
It's true, though. You test the waters with your peers, maybe with your backpack, before you bring it to the main stage. But making it official at a live stream memorial, that takes a level of bravery that I think most adults just don't possess. And notice the pronouns reported in the press? They, them. It's a total reclamation of identity.
It really is.
Yes.
And you look at the reaction, or rather, the total lack of drama surrounding it from the family. It was just accepted.
That's the key concept here. The sources we're looking at describe this architecture of equanimity. It's this idea that the family has built a structure where stability comes first.
Right.
Seeing Finn comfortable enough to step into their truth in front of a congregation, that is the ultimate proof that whatever Ben and Jen are doing behind the scenes, it's working.
It's working, yeah.
But, and there's a big but here, we have to look at the cost of that architecture because structures don't build themselves. Someone has to carry the bricks.
And that leads us directly to the surprisingly painful admission Jennifer Garner just made. Because coming up, we're going to look at a brand new interview from just yesterday where Jennifer admits that co-parenting isn't the fairy tale people think it is.
Not at all.
And she mentions a specific loss that never goes away. So stick with us.
Yeah, this interview really flipped the script on the perfect divorce narrative. We always hear, oh, they're great friends, but we rarely hear about the deficit that creates.
So let's pivot to the present day. February 2026. Jennifer Garner sits down for Bustle's One Night Stand series. And usually, Jen is America's sweetheart, right? She's sunny, she's optimistic, but she gave this incredibly raw interview about life after her 2018 divorce.
She talked about the yin and yang of a household.
Right, which was a revelation.
It really was, because she put words to a very specific psychological phenomenon. She explained that in a nuclear family, you have the benefit of that yin and yang in the same house. You can balance each other out in real time.
Like a tag team.
Exactly. If one parent is strict, the other can be soft. If one is tired, the other steps up. It's a distributed load system.
But in separate households,
Yeah.
She actually said, and this is a direct quote, I become mom and dad, he becomes dad and mom.
That quote is profound. It's what psychologists call role synthesis. When you don't have a partner in the next room to play bad cop or nurturer, you have to be everything all at once.
Yeah, the mental load of that is staggering.
You have to switch cognitive gears instantly. You're the disciplinarian 1 minute and the comforter the next, without anyone to tag in. That is exhausting.
And she didn't sugarcoat the emotional side of it either. She admitted there is a little bit of loss in that arrangement. She said you lose the shared labor and the true partnership.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, she's talking about grieving the efficiency of a partnership. It's not just about missing the person romantically, it's about missing the teammate.
She mentioned in Marie Claire UK that the hardest part wasn't the tabloids or the gossip. It was losing a true partnership in friendship.
That structural loss changes how you parent. It means you are always on.
Speaking of how she parents, she dropped another incredible phrase in that Marie Claire interview. She called it parenting with a button on my mouth.
I loved that visual so much.
What does that actually look like in practice, though?
Well, it means stepping back. It's the difference between carpenter parenting and gardener parenting. A carpenter tries to build a chair, they measure, they cut, they force the wood into a specific shape. A gardener plants a seed and ensures the soil is good, but they don't try to pull the plant up to make it grow faster. Jen is describing becoming a gardener.
Letting them grow naturally.
Exactly. She explicitly said you have to let them grow up and make their own choices, whether that's Finn changing their name or Violet choosing where to go to college. It's a move from being a manager of your children to a consultant.
A consultant. That's a great way to put it. You offer advice,
Yeah.
but you don't control the outcome.
Precisely. And that requires a massive amount of trust, especially when you're in the public eye, where every single mistake your child makes is going to be scrutinized by millions of people.
Totally.
Putting a button on your mouth when the world is screaming at you is a superpower.
It really is. Now, if you want to stay ahead of the curve on how Hollywood families are evolving and hear more deep dives like this, hit that subscribe button. We have a massive industry shakeup story coming next week that you will not want to miss.
You really won't.
So it's interesting you mentioned trust and the results of this Gardner approach.
Yeah.
Because despite this loss she feels, she acknowledges the gain. She says she's learned to let go. And honestly, looking at how the kids are turning out, that strategy seems to be paying off in ways that go way beyond typical Hollywood standards. We need to talk about the next generation,
Yes.
specifically the eldest, Violet Affleck.
Oh, Violet is a fascinating case study.
She's 20 years old now, attending Yale.
Yeah.
But calling her a college student feels like an understatement. She isn't just studying, she is a legitimate activist with a portfolio that would impress a tenure-track professor.
She really is. And I think we need to pause on exactly what she is doing because it breaks the Nepo baby mold entirely.
Right. Usually the child of two A-listers goes into modeling, or they start a DJ
Or
career.
they get a small role in a streaming series, yeah.
Exactly. But Violet published a research paper in Yale's Global Health Review.
And the paper was titled, A Chronically Ill Earth.
Just listen to that title. A Chronically Ill Earth. She is drawing high-level connections between long COVID and climate response.
This isn't a fluff piece. This is dense epidemiological and sociological analysis. She's looking at systemic health issues.
And she didn't stop at publishing. She testified before the United Nations, arguing that clean air is a human right.
Can you imagine the pressure? You're 20 years old. Your dad is Batman. Your mom is a rom-com legend. And you are standing at the UN talking about particulate matter and public health policy.
It's wild.
It tells me that she hasn't just been raised, she's been informed, she's been encouraged to look outward, not inward at her own fame.
And Ben's reaction to this is so telling. He was promoting his new films, The Rip and Kiss of the Spider-Woman, but when asked about Violet, he didn't talk about her star quality. He just lit up and called her spectacular. And then he said, she takes after her mom.
Which is the ultimate compliment in that family, I think.
Yeah.
It acknowledges that Jen did the heavy lifting on the values front. But there's a contradiction here that I find really compelling. You have these incredibly successful kids, Violet at Yale, Finn finding their identity, and yet Ben told E! News something that sounds almost cynical.
You mean his comments about their careers?
Yes. He said, and I quote, "I hope they don't waste their life acting."
Waste their life.
Yeah.
That is a strong choice of words for someone who has dedicated his own life to acting and has 2 Oscars to show for it. Why would he say that?
I don't think it's cynicism, actually. I think it's protection. Ben knows the transaction costs of fame better than anyone on the planet. He knows that acting isn't just about the craft. It's about the intrusion.
The paparazzi, the lack of privacy.
Exactly. It's about the loss of anonymity. By saying he hopes they don't waste their lives on it, he's implying that there are more substantial things to do, like, say, solving the climate crisis or long COVID. He wants them to have agency, which is the one thing fame often strips away.
He wants them to find their own way. He said, we really want to give them room to figure out what they want to do. It sounds like he sees the toll the public eye takes, and he wants to spare them that specific burden. And you can see that protective instinct even with the youngest, Samuel.
Samuel is 13 now, officially a teenager as of early 2025.
And the details about him are so much more normal. He's apparently super into Game of Thrones.
Which gained Jennifer Garner some serious cool points with her co-star, Nikolaj Coster-Waldau.
That's amazing.
It's funny to think of Jennifer Garner, who is so wholesome, trying to leverage her connections to impress her teenager. But again, it shows they are engaging with their kids on the kids' terms.
Right.
Samuel likes fantasy, Mom talks to the Kingslayer, Violet likes science, Dad cheers for her at the UN, Finn explores gender identity. The whole family changes how they introduce them at a funeral.
It's a totally tailored approach to parenting. One size does not fit all.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the United Front. Because despite everything, even Ben's separation from Jennifer Lopez in 2025, that core unit remains tight.
Yeah, there was a sighting at a Boston Red Sox game recently. Ben, Jen, Finn, and Samuel. Front row.
That visual is important. It reinforces stability. And the reports that Finn is close with J-Lo's twins, Emmy and Max, suggest that even though marriages end, the sibling bonds, biological or step-rear, are being protected.
That goes back to the architecture of equanimity we talked about. They are prioritizing the kids' relationships over the adult's romantic drama. It's a very sophisticated way to handle a blended family. They aren't erasing the past relationships. They're integrating the connections that matter to the kids.
Exactly.
But wait, we've talked about the kids and the parents and all this heavy stuff. But before we go, we have to talk about the one thing Jennifer Garner says she refuses to do. And it involves a very famous domestic goddess. That's coming right up.
This part is so relatable, honestly.
So for all the talk of loss and high-level co-parenting, Jen is still Jen. And she revealed something in a Hello interview about her show 5-Star Weekend that I think grounds all of this perfectly.
Oh, the cooking admission.
Yes. She admitted that she is not and refuses to be a Martha Stewart cook.
Which is hilarious because she literally has a cooking show.
Right. But her philosophy is kids don't care. Families don't care. Just make it. Just do it with love. She basically said her cooking isn't pretty, and she's done trying to make it perfect.
That loops perfectly back to the button on the mouth and the letting go we talked about earlier.
It does. It's all connected.
It's the philosophy of the good enough mother. That's actually a psychological concept introduced by Donald Winnicott in the 1950s.
Oh, interesting.
The idea is that being perfect is actually bad for your kids because it doesn't teach them how to handle reality. Being good enough, showing love, but also showing flaws, or burnt pie crusts, or the struggle of co-parenting is actually healthier.
That makes so much sense.
Whether it's letting go of the perfect nuclear family image, letting go of controlling your child's identity, or just letting go of the perfect dinner presentation, it's a philosophy of resilience.
So, synthesizing all of this, what does it all mean? When we look at the timeline, From Finn standing at that lectern in West Virginia, to Violet commanding the room at the UN, to Jen sitting in an interview chair admitting she feels loss. What are we really seeing?
We are seeing a new kind of Hollywood resilience. They have moved from what Jen called the pity stage, that time right after the divorce where everything feels broken, to a place of peace and equanimity.
Equanimity. That's the word of the day.
It is. It means mental calmness and evenness of temper, especially in a difficult situation. They aren't pretending the divorce didn't hurt. They aren't pretending it's easy to be a mom and dad all at once. But they are showing up.
And seeing Finn comfortable enough to be themselves.
That is the receipt. That is the proof. You don't get a kid who is confident enough to change their name and read scripture at a funeral if they feel unsafe or broken at home. The kids are the scoreboard. And on that scoreboard, despite the headlines and the heartbreak, Ben and Jen are winning.
It really leaves you wondering, though, right? How long until this generation, kids like Violet and Finn, who are so grounded in reality despite their upbringing, how long until they fundamentally change the celebrity machine from the inside? It's something for you to think about.
It's a great question.
You've been listening to StarScope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in. And remember, even A-list families have to navigate those little losses to find the big gains.
Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.